play modes and customizable options. All in all, making this title pretty deep for simply a handheld offering, with a fair bit for me to cover. The game is obviously a versus fighter, and looks and plays practically the same as King of Fighters R2, another great little fighting game released by SNK on the Neo Geo Pocket Color, earlier that very same year. The game's roster mixes a selection of SNK and Capcom characters, just as the name would suggest. In terms of individual franchises covered, they pretty much match similar ones to those featured within Capcom vs SNK, which was released later on the Dreamcast, but SNK seems to have done a little better job with variation on the Capcom side of things with this one. In the Dreamcast game, Morrigan is the only playable character who is not from the Street Fighter games. In Match of the Millennium, on the other hand, she is joined by fellow Darkstalkers combatants, BB Hood and Felicia, although the rest are still all Street Fighters. Upon powering the game on, the game's main menu instantly offers a variety of play options. We shall start off by talking about the game's tourney mode, which, as you would expect, lets you fight through a tourney. Upon selecting this mode, it then gives you three options. You can choose between a single, tag and team mode, which is pretty self-explanatory really, with regards to what each of these functions present.
Explanatory.
Basically modes that consist of 1-on-1 matches, 2-on-2 matches, and 3 fighter Q teams. But then, the game gives you a further choice between average, counter, and rush. These are playstyles that differ depending on your choice. The best way to describe playstyles is that they are basically the same as grooves, which we covered earlier in the week with the Dreamcast game. The average style is similar to the style found in most Street Fighter games.
Funny.
Basically, you are given a multi-level gauge, which you must fill in order to perform super combos. The counter style is the SNK style, where you manually fill a gauge through button tapping. In addition to this, characters enter desperation mode when their life bar is nearly empty, which gives them an advantage when they are up against the wall. Rush mode, interestingly, is inspired by the Darkstalkers franchise, which involves saving up a 3-level stock of power. This power can be used to perform a super combo, but unlike average and counter modes, will not completely drain the super combo gauge. In terms of the tourney modes, you obviously must fight your way through various encounters, much like one would expect. About halfway through a playthrough, you must face off against your character's designated rival in a quick one-round encounter. Winning and losing this match will help determine how a playthrough ends. The final stage of a playthrough, if you lose, sees you face off against the tag team of Geese and Bison, two respective last bosses from the King of Fighters and Street Fighter series. However, if you are successful in defeating your rival earlier in the game, there is an additional bout against Orochi Iori or Evil Ryu. If you clear this final stage, you will get the game's good ending. Otherwise, the bad ending is presented. This is also helpful in unlocking the game's secret characters. The 8 characters are unlockable by beating the tourney mode. Once achieved, a silhouette appears of the secret characters covered by 3x3 grids of blocks. The amount of blocks removed will depend on if you defeated your rival along with either Evil Ryu or Orochi Iori. Once all blocks have been removed from the character, they have then been unlocked. This quest for unlockables is one of the many elements of this game that gives it such a large amount of replayability. In terms of the character unlocking process, it is also of note that this task can be sped up by transferring data from the SNK vs Capcom Card Fighter Clash that can also be experienced on the Neo Geo Pocket Color. Moving away from tourney mode, the other significant play mode is known as Olympic mode, which involves breaking what the game refers to as event records. Olympic mode offers a whole range of things to do, from survival, where you must defeat 100 straight opponents, to time attack, where you must beat 5 opponents in the quickest time possible, to first blast, where you must fight 10 one-blow matches to achieve a high score. In addition to this, Olympic mode features minigames that are nothing to do with the fighting game genre, such as Catwalk for example, which is a very basic rhythm game, similar to Guitar Hero. We also have Ghost Trick, where you must jump backwards and forwards across ledges as Arthur from Ghosts and Goblins, whose inclusion is surprising considering they made a sprite for him for this minigame, yet is not a playable fighter. There is even a shooter minigame where you play as Marco from Metal Slug and reenact one of the Metal Slug game's final boss fights, And finally, there is Target 9, where you play as Juby from the Samurai Showdown series in a reaction-based game, slashing things with your sword. When I say that this little game is packed to the brim with surprising content, I am really not exaggerating. SNK vs Capcom, the Millennium Match, is very possibly the greatest fighting game made for a handheld in the 90s. Although cute and simplistic in some ways, the scaled-back nature of this on the simple Neo Geo colour hardware delivers a game that is very fluid-looking and responsive to play. The music in the game complements the entire experience, offering simple renditions of various famous Capcom and SNK tunes. I would guess this is one of those games that remains under-celebrated today, due to the fact that it was published exclusively for a system that basically no one owned. The game is shockingly good and extremely satisfying to play. This may be a very controversial thing to say, but I think I prefer this one over Capcom vs SNK for the Dreamcast. But that could be partially down to the fact that I simply love games on basic handhelds. The limitations presented with these things often lead to some very unique games. All in all, I feel that the game was extremely worthy of highlighting today, and acts as yet another chapter within the Capcom vs Games history. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the first episode of Handhelds Around the World within my month-long Romanian adventure. I plan to be back every Sunday in a new city or town looking at the history of various handheld devices and some of the gaming gems these products house. Let me know which games and systems that you would be keen to hear me cover within the video comment section. If you enjoyed this content, please give it a like, subscribe and hit the notification bell to never miss a video. Finally, my channel Top Hat Gaming Man is partially funded by those who support me on Patreon, who make the daunting task of making videos full-time on YouTube just a little bit less scary. So a huge thank you to Carl Johnson, Sebastian Velez, JD Robbins, Sid Spaces, Andrew Bazansky, Antonio Rodriguez, Asobi Huang Diet, Computer Man, Craig Jenkins, Michael Baker, Tom Elliott, and the rest of my generous bunch. Thank you all for the support. Yeah! Cheerio!
Happy Halloween. And guess what I have here? I was doing an autograph signing not too long ago, and one of my fans hands me this piece of paper. It's a petition to review Ghosts and Goblins. Yeah, he went through the line and got everybody to sign it. Now, what's there to say about Ghosts and Goblins? Well, it's not a bad game. It's made by Capcom, so how could it? But it's one of the most difficult games in the NES library. This game is harder than fossilized Triceratops turds. I'm talking Mega Man combined with Castlevania, that kind of hard. Games this ruthless and unforgiving should be illegal. And I've never gotten the petition or review any other game. That's a true testament to its infamous legacy and the eternal frustration that scarred us all since childhood. I remember my first time playing it. I got it for my birthday, the same day I got my NES. Of course I had the Super Mario Bros. Duck Hunt combo cartridge, but the first game I attempted was Ghosts and Goblins. That's right, this is the first NES game I ever played. And that's one hell of a game to start with. Naturally, I got my ass kicked. This is what it would have looked like my first time playing the game. I sucked balls. This new console was way different than the Atari 2600 I was accustomed to. In the 80s, these were the kind of brutal-ass games that kicked us into shape and heightened our senses. Made us into fucking tigers! And now, 25 years later, I'm gonna put my gaming skills to the ultimate test and see if I can finally beat this fucker. Because it's Halloween. There's no excuse. I can feel in the air the time is right to play some Ghosts and Goblins. It begins with one of the most shocking intros in video game history. A couple just got done having sex in a cemetery. I'm not even kidding. What else does it look like? He's not wearing clothes. Next thing, Satan shows up as if saying, yeah, I want to get in on some of that, and takes her away. That's the plot. Is that the greatest opening to an NES game or what? So you get suited up in your knight's armor and set off to rescue your girlfriend, fighting off a never-ending army of ghosts and goblins, and zombies, and devils, and ravens, and dragons, and squealing ghosts that look like pigs in a blanket. Yeah, I guess they couldn't fit all that in the title. Of all the enemies, the red devils are probably the most annoying. They stay up in the air like a little sissy, and then swoop down. That's the only chance you have to hit them, but that's also when you're bound to get killed. If you try to outrun them, they will chase you all the way through the stage. You encounter the first devil in the middle of stage 1. This guy is a beginner's trap that's bullied unsuspecting gamers, and its arcade cousin stole more quarters than you could imagine. First time playing this game, I figured he must be the final boss. Nowadays, it's silly to imagine a game being that short, but back then, I was accustomed to Atari. The idea of a game lasting longer than 5 minutes was beyond my comprehension. My only clue was that every time you die, you're shown a map screen letting you know how much of the game is left. It's only 6 levels plus a final boss stage. Doesn't sound that hard, but just you wait. Your starting weapon is a javelin. It flies in a straight line and kills whatever it hits. Seems like a good deal, right? Well, you'll learn how useless it is once you get to the first level boss, which the instruction manual calls a unicorn. Yeah, it looks just like a unicorn, doesn't it? Anyway, this guy takes 1,000,000 hits. You need a faster weapon, like the knife. The knife is the only weapon that's fit to the challenges that lie ahead. Now we're in level 2. This is where shit starts to get criminally insane. How do you like jumping around on platforms, taking leaps of faith while avoiding tiny enemies and projectiles? Next, these little bastards come flying out of windows. Then, you're navigating ladders while fighting these big guys that squat and drop shits, and take about as many hits as the unicorn. If you didn't get the knife in level 1, don't even try. That's my words of wisdom. Anyone who wants to get far in this game, my rules are: number 1, get the knife. Number 2, get the knife. Number 3, get the knife. You want to cut steak with a plastic spoon? No, get the knife. I can't stress it enough. They locked me up in an asylum. Get the knife. Get the knife. Ah, fuck my uncle. You see that? That's a flame weapon. That thing sucks. It's the second worst weapon in video game history aside from the cane in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It always misses your target, and if 2 of them land, you have to wait for the flames to die out before you can throw any more. You don't want it. But look, it's sitting on top of the only ladder that goes down. The weapons don't go away. They just sit there. Even if you run far away, then come back, the weapon is still there. You're probably thinking, why not just get the flame and then die? Well, when you die, you keep the weapon. It never changes until you find a different weapon. That's bullshit, but on the plus side, when I have the knife, I get to keep that too. You know what I had to do? I had to reset the game and get the knife in level 1 all over again. And then guess what? The flame appears again! It's a trap. Well, I figured it out. The flame appears when you get to the top floor, which you don't have to do. You can stay on the second to top floor and progress to the right. So that's my other tip. Don't let the flame appear on level 2. Speaking of weapons, there's also an axe, which I found deep into level 6. Want to know what that does? Well, I'm not getting it. The level 2 boss is 2 unicorns. Did I mention get the knife? Level 3. You know what makes this level hard? The devils. The whole stage is an endurance marathon of devils. This is where you start to realize exactly what makes the game so difficult. It's because you can only get hit twice. No, it doesn't have all the pitfalls like in Castlevania, the respawning enemies like in Ninja Gaiden, or the disappearing platforms like in Mega Man. But imagine playing any of those games without a fucking life bar. In Ghosts and Goblins, first time you get hit, you lose your armor. Second time, you lose your skin. And that's it. It's as if they programmed the game and then said, you know what, it needs an expert setting. And then they programmed it, but forgot to add it in the menus. It's a theory, but it's the best guess I could come up with. Why else would they make the game so fucking hard? Well, one fair thing I can say is that there's no game over. Well, technically there is. It says game over when you die 3 times, but there's unlimited continues, and it always puts you back at the checkpoint where you left off. So the game's incredibly fair when it comes to that, but it's so relentlessly hard it almost doesn't matter anyway. There's actually a glitch I found out, where you hit the devil when he's just barely off screen, then run away. Wait like 5 seconds, come back, and he's gone. Yeah, how do you like that, you fucking game? It's cheating, but for a game like this, I don't feel bad about it. Now I actually have a chance against the dragon boss. After observing his pattern and getting some practice, he's not too hard to beat. Level 4 starts it off with a big jumping game on floating clouds. It's a mess. After the checkpoint, you're on a fiery bridge with flames rising below and projectiles at every step of the way. The level boss is another dragon. There's no tricks I know of. The only way to do it is to fucking do it. Level 5. Now you're in what seems like the final stretch of the game. I mean, you're in the final tower after all, but I guarantee these last 2 levels will take you the longest of all. But that goal is so tempting, just to be able to say you beat ghosts and goblins. Or you could just aim for the high score. Yeah, I didn't mention yet that you find money and treasures all around, which are only good for points. That's right, no power-ups, no life bar, but plenty of points if you just want to get that high score. The level 5 boss is Satan. He's just like the swooping red devils. It's worth mentioning that he's called Satan, but the last guy is the devil. I always thought Satan and the devil were, the same thing. Level 6, oh boy, this is the infernal hellhole of the 8-bit underworld. There's nothing more synonymous with hell, eternal damnation, fire and brimstone than level 6 Ghosts and Goblins. This will make you curse the day you ever picked up an NES controller. Your body will shake, your hands will be sweating all over the controller, your heart will be racing out of control, you'll forget to breathe, and your eyes will be burning from not blinking. These are all common symptoms of NES fever. You get it from playing games like Ninja Turtles, Street Fighter 2010, the Famicom Transformers, and this one. First, kill the unicorn. By now, you should be good at it. Then, kill the dragon. He's an asshole anyway. Then a shield drops down. No, it's not some power-up. It's a weapon. That's right, a shield is a fucking weapon. In other words, you don't want it. Right? Next is one of the most frustrating moments of the whole game. A big guy wanders back and forth. If you go up the ladder, he kills you. The only thing you can do is wait for him to go away from the ladder, I mean far away, and there's no pattern. You can lure him toward one side, but for the most part, he just wanders around as he feels like it. I've actually ran out the timer waiting for this guy. Yes, there's a time limit, as if the game isn't hard enough. Once you do make it to the top of the ladder, you're in a real bad spot. One step to the left triggers the skeleton, and one step to the right triggers the red devil. You do not want to wake that guy up. You can even wake him up by throwing a knife in his direction. That means if the big guy is to the right, you have to count off exactly 10 hits. If you throw one extra knife, you'll hit the devil, he'll wake up, and then it's game over. The next obstacle is the worst of all, a red devil that you can't avoid. Don't go up there and fight him. Trigger him to come down, and then hope to God you can kill him. Oh no, no! Oh, thank God for post-hit invincibility. Yeah! After you beat him, you're free to go up. You're almost done level 6.
Man, that was stupid. I could have totally saved myself there.
Beat level 6 without the shield,
there's a safe spot.
Sends you back to level 5. This is one of those famous pranks in the history of gaming. Whether or not it's true, I'm not risking finding out. I'm getting the shield. Thankfully, enemies do not respawn, so my strategy is killing them with the knife, then going back for the shield. The only disadvantage is that you only get 3 minutes on the timer, so doing all this is barely possible. Then you go back up and watch that flame. It's there every time. Lose the shield now, and you lose the game. Oh, here's the boss, here's the boss. It's a Satan. It's another Satan. Well, the shield has a short range, but at least it can block his projectiles. Yes! Oh my God, it's another one. There's 2 Satans? That doesn't make any sense. Come on, come on. I'm running out of time. I'm running out of time. Fuck. And now you're stuck with that shitty shield. Don't even try. You can't kill the unicorn with the shield. It doesn't work. If someone else wants to try it, go ahead. You need the knife. So now you gotta go ghost busting. Kill those fucking ghosts until one of them drops a knife. Again, it's at pure random, so expect to run the timer out a few times. And by this point, those annoying squeals the ghosts make will nearly drive you to break the fucking TV screen. Shut up! Finally, when you get the knife back, you can try the level again. Fuck! What are you laughing at? You know that feeling you get when you almost beat the level and you want another shot right away? You have that adrenaline going and you want to start again immediately? Well, you can't. You gotta go wait for the fucking knife to come back. So you'll never get 2 tries in a row. You know what? I'm sick of it.
Fuck.
I've been playing this fucking game since the 80s. I gotta beat it. I need closure on this. I need to end this chapter on my life. This chapter of not beating ghosts and goblins. I did! I beat 2 Satans in my underwear. Final boss, the devil. Notice how I'm walking backwards, so it's now in one-on-one fighting mode. Kind of like a certain other Capcom game. Ah! Come on! My mother throws bigger fireballs than that. You know what? I don't try to be cocky or anything, but who's the man? I just beat one of the hardest games of all time. I bet you didn't think I could really do it, but I got this, man. I got this by the ass! This room is an illusion and is devised by Satan? Go ahead dauntlessly. Make rapid progress.
Still no letters. This is ass.
You have to beat the game twice? You have to beat the game twice in a row. That's just great, because this time I'm twice as fucking pissed off.
Oh my fucking word.
Beat the game twice. I'll show you twice.
Good lord.
A lot of hard work. Who'd want to do that shit again? It's like building a house and right after you're finished you tear it down just to build it one more time. Oh yeah, we could have made 12 stages, but instead, let's just make 6 and make people have to play the game twice. Alright, I'm gonna get the good ending this time. It better be good, whatever it is. It better be something awesome for going through the game twice. Alright, alright. Yeah! I did it! Congratulations. This story is happy end. Thank you. Being the wise and courageous knight that you are, you feel strongeth welling in your body. Return to starting point. Challenge again. Curse! Curse! Goddammit! I used up all my fuck points during the last 107 episodes. I don't have anything new. I gotta rely on the old tricks. Alright, let's try the cluster F bombs. Fuck this fucking piece of shit fucker game. Gotta go for the precision F strike. Oh, how this game lures you in with its appealing gameplay and charming atmosphere and then bends you over and fucks you to hell. But how it's a wordplay.
Oh no!
Feast on some fried fuck farts. Assonance. What's up, you dumb fuck couple mother humping muppet fuckers, uncle? Rhymes. Suck on this muck, you run amok fucked up, Mandarin duck.